of the exercises that involve doing an inner join. So let's have a look at the first one. It says display the employee name and location of employment. So we want two columns, and you can see what we want is we want e-name and location. So if we go back to Access, we've got an emp table here, and obviously the emp table has got information about people, and we've got a department table which has got department names and locations. And so what we're really looking for is we want the e-name from the emp table, which is just here, and we want the location from the department table, which is just here. So this is an example of where we want information from two different tables. So back to our query. So we're going to use select from and where. And my first instinct is always to go, well, which particular tables are we interested in? And in this instance, we know it's going to be the emp table and the department table. So in the previous examples, we were only using one table, so we just wrote one table after the from clause. Here we're going to use two tables, so I just write them down and I put a comma between them. And what we're doing, of course, here is we're doing our Cartesian product. So everything from the first table will be combined with everything from the second table. In fact, we can prove that if I just take the where clause out and stick a star on here. Show me all the columns, Cartesian product those things together. And here it is. You can see masses and masses of rows, and if we nip across, you can basically see that every row from the emp table has been combined with every row from the department table. And of course that's not quite right. That actually is totally valid. It is a Cartesian product, but of course what we want to do is we want to join the tables together correctly. And these two columns here will tell us about how to actually turn that Cartesian product into a join. What we actually want to do is we want to keep the rows where this number is the same as this number. So we're looking for that overlapping column. Which column is in both the emp table and the department table? And the way that we can do this is to add a selection in. And we know it's the department number. Now we have to use that notation here because what we really want to say is we want to sort of go department number equals department number. In other words, the department number from the emp table is the same as the department number from the department table. But that doesn't really make it clear to Access or the database that we're using which department number is which. So if we do have a shared column, in other words, a column that's got the same name in different tables, the way that we can distinguish them is simply by adding the table name at the front. So this is going to be department number. I'm going to use a dot, just like that. And this is going to be emp. I'm going to use a dot like that. So let's read that aloud. What we're going to do is we're going to say select star, so that means show me all the columns from emp comma department. So we're going to combine those two tables together using a Cartesian product. So everything from the first table combined with everything from the second table. But we're only going to retain the rows where the department numbers match. So in other words, where department number from the first table matches department number from the second table. From emp matches department. Now I can run that again. And that's looking a lot healthier now. You can see we've got our 15 rows here, and you may have 14. It depends what your data set initially looks like. But the important point here is if you look at these two columns here, that one and that one, you can see that that matching has worked correctly. We've got our inner join of the emp table and the department table. Now if I go back to the SQL, because this actually says display the employee name and location of employment. So it's actually asking us for specific columns. We want e-name and location. And of course the way that we can get specific columns is just by putting them up here. So this is an example of a query that's actually asking us to do an inner join, a selection, that selection is going to be working over the Cartesian product, and an extra projection just to give us particular columns. So now if I run that, here it is. So you can see we've got the names of people and where they work. Now, To do that in relational algebra would look like this. Now I know I'm going to be doing projections and selections, so I've already laid it out just to enable me to type things in. So we know that we're going to be combining two relations, two tables together, and the tables of interest are emp, and then we're going to combine them with department. So we're going to use a Cartesian product to combine emp and department together. We want to turn that into a join, and so what we need to do is we need to add the appropriate condition just in that gap. So it's going to be emp, oops, just delete that there, emp dot department number equals department dot department number. So that does the Cartesian product. We're using that cross. We're going to combine those two tables together, but we're only going to keep the rows where the department numbers match. But then there's that extra little bit added on the end where it says basically we want the e-name and the location. So if I bring up the SQL, there's the SQL, and there's the relational algebra which does the same thing.